Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. Well, welcome back. We were unexpectedly interrupted in the middle of the 5 unity principles. So we are going to continue our interview with Reverend Sallie. And if you could sort of start over again with the 5 unity principles.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Well, I'll just say briefly, the first unity principle, of course, is that there's only one presence and one power. In the universe, we say active as my life and as the universe, and that is God, the allness, the energy, the omnipotence of God, and that presence of God is good. So all was created good. So how this distinguishes unity from other paths is that we don't believe that there's another force that can come up against the energy and allness of God that is anything but good.
Well, that's good news.
It is good news for us. So there's only one. And the second principle we spoke about before is really how we relate to that allness of God as the expressions of God, the divine expressions of God. So we are created in the image and likeness of God, and therefore we are divine in truth of our nature, and we're created in that original virtue, and we are created good. Now, sometimes we don't make good choices, but that's not because we were created anything but good.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do then with the third principle that we had started speaking about. And this principle is how we live our lives and how we use our free will to make choices. So we were created divine, but we always have a choice of how we're going to respond to life and how we are going to draw to us experiences in life based on what we first think, and then the feelings and beliefs we develop, and then the words that we speak and the actions that we do in the world. And these are, of course, our free choice, depending on which voice within we're listening to. We're listening to our higher self, that God self, or we're listening to the human kind of fearful self.
Is this what you refer to as the law of mind action?
Yes,
then?
the law of mind action. Some call it the law of attraction. So whatever choices we make and the things we think and say and do go out into the world and have an energy of themselves, and they then draw back to us through that law of circulation in like kind.
Mm-hmm.
So Charles Fillmore would say, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Just imagine if you wake up in the morning and you keep thinking it's going to be a terrible day, and all you're thinking is terrible thoughts, chances are you're going to start creating that kind
mm-hmm.
of day, because that's what you will expect to get back from other people, and that's the energy you'll put forth. And so you do help to co-create. So that third principle says that we are co-creators with the Spirit of God. The fourth principle is about prayer and meditation. And the reason that prayer, and especially affirmative prayer in unity, is so important is that this is one way that we can help to shape our responses and the energy that we put out into the world if we at first get centered in that God self
mm-hmm.
of us. And we do that through prayer. We do that through affirming the truth of who we are. So we use the name of God, which is I am. I will be that which I will be. I am that I am. However we translate that name given to Moses by God. And when we use those words and everything after that to affirm higher thoughts and highest potential and goodness, then more likely that's what we will focus on. So that prayer can help shape our focus.
Getting into the peaceful presence of God, mm-hmm. and creating that open space for flow of the good energy and
exactly.
all of the essence, really, of the divinity within.
Yeah. Course in Miracles, which we spoke about earlier, in the other part of the interview, says that one of the lessons, I will make no decisions alone today. And what that means is you make a decision with a Holy Spirit or a Spirit of God within you, guiding you. So rather than make a decision and hold thoughts and speak words based on anger, let's say, or resentment, you go into prayer first and you say, how can I see this differently, God? I am connected to you. I am healthy and whole. I am loving and kind. And once you pray and affirm those things, then you're walking with Spirit and you're coming from that perspective as opposed to the human, fearful, angry self. And the flip side of the prayer and speaking to God and speaking affirmations is meditation. So in our Sunday services, we encourage meditation, we do guided meditation, and we encourage people to meditate. Whatever practice appeals to us, there are many different meditation practices, and Unity doesn't just use one in particular. Whichever one can help you to quiet your human thoughts, your monkey mind chatter, long enough so that you can hear that voice for God that is always speaking to you in meditation. So we can ask to have revealed to us the truth, and then we sit in the quiet so that we can actually hear it.
We can receive that guidance.
Receive the guidance. And then the fifth principle, which was added later, is about taking the truths that we know, these four principles, previous principles, and putting them into practice in our world. So we don't have to just go and be isolated up on a mountaintop. We can then go into the world responding from this place of love and be an instrument of peace and be someone who can make a difference by using those principles, by walking our thoughts.
Okay, so these are the 5 basic Unity principles, and they are the standard, so to speak, not just at our Unity Church, but throughout the entire Unity movement, which is international, actually. And we do have many Unity centers and churches throughout the globe. I'm not sure if any of our viewers have been to any others than ours, but I know that we talked about your past ministries, and you actually, attended Unity in Tampa, and then you had another Unity church here, and now you're here at Unity Christ Church in St. Louis. What kind of experiences, come to mind that you could share with us? Perhaps, not as evidence, but that have worked out for you in terms of seeing these principles in your life. Is there anything that you could share about that?
Well, oh my, many. Many. Definitely the area of my relationships has improved once I realized that I could co-create those relationships, and that I could listen to a different voice from the fearful human voice, which most of us are raised to listen to. And so my relationships became more loving, more patient, more kind, and eventually I was open to meeting someone who would also be that way, and then met my husband.
Right,
and,
we forgot to mention that. That you are married.
Yes.
And how long have you been married now?
Let's see, 5.5 years.
Okay.
Yes, we were married.
And you inherited
4
daughters?
bonus daughters.
Yes. Okay.
4 bonus daughters, and now I have 2 grandchildren.
Congratulations
and
on
so
all that.
I'm prosperous.
You went from some maybe not so great relationships, or some relationships maybe that were lacking in some areas, to an abundance of love, an abundance of family. So yeah, that is.
Well, I'm getting more in touch with what my true needs were and how to express that. So definitely the area of relationships has improved, and just, I would say, being able to feel connected most of the time. and to feel centered. Through my use of the unity principles in my own life through all these years, I have finally learned to go first to God and to always ask, what is mine to do in this situation, and then to listen before taking any action. I've learned how to listen for a response of a resounding yes when I'm asked to do something, when I think about whether something is for me or not, and Spirit will give me that resounding yes. Ego will make it very complicated and very anxious, and so then I may not, this may not be for me, and so at least I don't jump into decisions.
Right.
And I feel very guided and very in tune with that guide.
I know that's a challenging area for me, is spiritual discernment, because I'm not very patient when it comes to making a decision. I want to make it right away. But I mean, you know, we have consequences to our choices. The thing that I have learned is that you know, you can always make another choice.
That's true.
But you know, if you make the wrong choice, then you have some sort of digging out to do. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
you may not feel very peaceful along the way, and you may not. You may have some unpleasantness. So it does.
It does. That's where the prayer and meditation comes into.
Keeping it centered.
Yeah, it comes into a very important part of your spiritual journey. So.
Yeah.
Anything else that you wanted to share with regard to these principles in your life?
Well, they've certainly allowed me to know where I am to be at different points.
And you feel very confident about that.
Yes,
right.
When I make a decision about when to start something, when to end something, I only make those decisions when I'm very strongly guided, and they turn out to be what are for my highest good.
And in the flow. Okay. So now that brings us up to speed where we are today here at Unity Christ Church. Can you tell us, you've only been here, well, almost a year and a half, not quite, what is going on, what the plans are, what things you have been working on and building with other people here at the church, what classes or what changes in the service, and let our viewers know that they should come and join in with us. Yeah.
Come on back. Well, a lot has changed. We've made some important changes to our order of service, especially for the flow, to create a very inviting experience from the very beginning of the service all the way through the end, where we feel connected, where each element of the service is on purpose, where one element flows into another, and some of this is linked through music, through our wonderful new music minister of music, Alan Ernst, is helping to create that by doing some training of our volunteers and helping them to see, and you're one of them, a very important one, the importance of each person playing their part, and how each person lifts up this worship service to a whole new experience, and just what an integral part everyone is in creating the experience of the Sunday worship. So it's not just piecemeal, and that I think is so important. That's why people come back.
Although I have to say, your lessons are fantastic. You know, even before, when you weren't the minister here, but you were here for other reasons, and you gave guest speaking lessons, they've always been very insightful and very moving, spiritual, and really, I believe, touching the people in our service.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate
so
that.
That's
always a work in progress, and,
yeah.
And I always have to step out of the way. People will say, you do a wonderful job or something, and I realize, yes, I'm putting the effort forth, but so much of the time I have to step out of the way and let Spirit work through me. And that's what we all do in all of our work, to be the most effective. And no one's ego wants to get out of the way.
Right.
So, I give all credit to Spirit for that. And it is important to me to be organized and to try to inspire and move the people. There would be no reason to do this work otherwise, and it's a privilege to have someone say, how did you know that that's what I needed? And maybe it's also what I needed,
right.
You know, because we're all one,
right.
Actually, and that's what we believe. So I'm speaking to my own heart and then connecting to the hearts of others. And along those lines, besides the order service itself, is the experience before and after the service of community. And this includes groups and classes. And we have a new group called the Unity Light Seekers, which is the name of actually the same name is at some of the other Unity churches, and it's such a perfect name that I just adopted it here too. So there are groups meeting at different Unity churches and calling themselves the Light Seekers because we are all seeking the light together. And this group got together and decided what they would like to do to create more sense of belonging.
And when do they meet?
They meet actually this Sunday, the 20th of March. They meet on the third Sunday of each month.
And after service?
After fellowship.
Okay.
And the idea is to get to know one another, because there's really never enough time during the service, and even just having a cup of coffee. And the idea is then to get together with folks of like mind to discuss the lesson if they want to, or anything else going on, or decide to read some spiritual literature. And that's what the group decided to do in its first meeting. So this will be the third meeting. And they've been reading, well, we've been reading. I've had to step out to teach the Keys to the Kingdom class, but I've also been reading Wayne Dyer's last book.
Oh, yes.
I Can See Clearly Now, which is a fantastic memoir of his life, and just chock full of inspiration and guidance, and him sharing his life's journey and all that he's learned. So the group will take whatever direction it takes, but people are coming together, they're bringing snacks to share, they're getting to know one another, and that's the whole idea.
And that is the third Sunday of the month usually?
Third Sunday of every month.
Okay. And then you mentioned the Keys to the Kingdom, which I am participating in, but if we could get
We're on the fifth key right now, this Sunday, which is Letting Go of the Past. And this class is based on, it's a prosperity program by Reverend David Owen Ritz of the Religious Science Path, which is our sister New Thought Path, Ernest Holmes, founder. And it's a very powerful program, prosperity program, akin to the 4T program of Stretton Smith that Unity uses. They're both very, very interesting and different in some ways, but similar. Based on 12 steps, but kind of all put into 7 steps. And so this class has been meeting each week, and I believe strengthening the church through the connections formed. We have 16 people now in the class, and we've been going through this process of stepping more fully into the flow of life, being givers to life, being committed to having a new understanding of abundance in our lives and all the aspects of abundance, and identifying what we need to release in order to embrace new truths for an abundant life.
Right. And increasing our awareness of what that really means for each of us, because each of us has unique dreams, desires, and really what I always say, you know, God implanted in each of us a unique seed as well, you know, for expression, and whatever is the highest and the best for you, it may be different, highest and the best for me, but
we each have our own blocks to that awareness. So
that's right.
In the class, we can all, you know, look at our own individual blocks to awareness and see which areas of our lives need the most focus.
We're blocking our own good. That's right.
And share our ideas and share some of our challenges and our successes, which we've been doing. So this is building community in our church, and this, I think, is absolutely number one, that people know this is a place where they can come to feel connected to those of like mind, and to be on a journey.
For people who haven't signed up for the class, I think you had said that, you know, it's never too late. is there any way they can get a copy of any of the materials or maybe the lessons that you've been integrating on Sunday? If they are just hearing it now, or when they do hear this for the first time, if they want to get information on it, is there a way for them to do that?
Well, you can always order your own materials from David Owen Rith. If you want to get your tapes and your workbook. You can also, we're going to put together a 7 CD set of the lessons. So the last lesson will be April the 10th, the 7th key. So this key this week is Let Go of the Past. The 6th key is Count the Blessing. And the 7th key is how we incorporate all of these keys together to live in the flow. And after that, we're going to have a set of 7 that can be ordered or picked up at the church.
Well, that would be great.
Not very high at all.
Very affordable.
That way you can hear all of the lessons. And it'll be the lessons and meditations, and not the entire service.
Oh, awesome.
The lesson and meditation. Okay. They're also going to be uploaded onto our website as audio files.
Okay. So I think that we are also celebrating something special this year, and you have to remind me, being in this location for how many years?
We've been in this location this summer for 60 years.
Okay.
Not us personally, but and the church was founded here in St. Louis, Unity Christ Church, 85 years ago.
Right. Right, 1931.
So we'll be celebrating that anniversary.
What do we have planned, or are we in the planning?
We're still in the planning process. I'm not in charge of that, so hopefully we'll have some information coming out soon. I know there's going to be a special service and music and a party, but I don't have all those details. So
won't be over the summer, or will be in the fall?
Probably no. It'll probably be. I think it's the 31st of July.
Okay.
Is the proposed
big
date.
All right. So, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that, I'll put in a plug for the Prayer Chaplain program if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yes. Well, we have reinstated our Prayer Chaplain program, and you can tell them a little bit about, why don't you tell them a little bit about Leilani and her prayer ministry and how this started?
Well, Leilani is the program founder of the official
Love and Light Ministries, I believe it's called.
Official prayer ministry program that Unity uses. Was it 2002 that she started it? I think it's.
I think it was a little bit
before
that.
And I know she was a minister. I think she was even a licensed Unity teacher at one point, but through her work and service in all her Unity churches, she developed this program, and it is people in the community of the church are trained to pray, and it's a very intensive kind of prayer training, which I've been through a couple of times, and it's very powerful, and the people who decide to make a commitment to the Prayer Chaplain program dedicate themselves at least for a year, and they are available to pray with people after service somewhere near the front of the church in the sanctuary. And then we also here at our church are trying to incorporate just general prayer requests that people have via the prayer box or email, or just calling the office and asking for prayer. So we have 3 prayer chaplains here right now. Myself, Mary Biggs, Mary Holloman, who's been a long time, she's a lifetime Unity person, and she's been a prayer chaplain for a long time. And then we have Wanki McKinney, who's been a long time Unity member, but just recently went through the training. So they have an annual training once a year, and then people can come in and get set up for the upcoming year. So we're going to launch our wellness calling here pretty shortly, which is also part of the program, where you call on members and congregants of the church once a month just to check in on them and ask if you can pray, similar to if you would call Silent Unity on your own and they would pray with you, and then put your name on the prayer list for 30 days. So we are excited about it, and we're moving forward with building that prayer consciousness back up in our church, which used to be such a a big part of the church, and so.
And it will be again, and I believe